Hello and welcome to the second university debate to celebrate International Human Rights Day. My name is Iguma Gabriel. International Human Rights Day is celebrated on the 10th of December every year, and the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights is the one that's making it possible for us to bring this debate to you at home. Today we have invited universities. This is day 2. On day 1 we had Makerere University Business School tussling it out with Kyambogo University, and Kyambogo University made it to the next round. We're going to find out which university will make it to the same round and join Kyambogo University. Today, the arguments that will be made should be factual, should have evidence, and should show currency from what's happening in Uganda and in the world. The best debater is the one that will convince you at home, will convince the audience that's seated here, but most importantly, will convince the judges who are giving the marks. Let me introduce the debaters by their universities. Gulu University. Gulu University will be tussling it out with Mbarara University of Science and Technology. Welcome to this debate. You have your motion for the day, but you don't know what sides you're going to argue. So we're going to toss a coin. Whatever side you choose is the one that you will take. Heads or tail? Heads, tail. So what side of the argument will you take? Proposition. You will take this side of the auditorium, and you will take this side of the auditorium. Before you hear the motion, I will introduce the judges for the day, and the judges will tell you what they will look for in the debaters. The first judge is Sandra Mwesije. Our second judge is Eli Kasirie, and our final judge is Deborah Oyela. Welcome our judges with a hand clap. Our motion for the day is that SDGs are government business, and therefore private sector, civil society, and private citizens have little to contribute to attaining them. We'll go to the proposers first to just introduce themselves. I'll go to my extreme right.
I'm called Mugerwa Herbert Oyat, a student of Gulu University.
Right.
Thank you.
I'm Lucky Gender Fancy, a student of Gulu University.
And finally, on my left.
I'm Segria Andrew, a student of Mbarara University of Science and Technology.
And?
Ichiriza Doreen, student Mbarara University of Science and Technology.
All right. Our judges, what are you going to look for in the two teams?
Thank you, moderator. I take the opportunity to welcome our debaters today. This is what we are looking for. We would like to see how you adhere to the guidelines that I'm going to read below. You should be original. So the first guideline is we want to see your verbal and non-verbal communication. How would you engage us? How would you articulate the issues, and which language do you use? The vocabulary. We want also to see the skills in argument. We want to see how you easy and how you bring out your arguments. We are so much interested in the content. We want to see which books are you referring to, current issues, the thematic issues. Are you straight on the point? Are you adhering to the topic as it is? And lastly, want to see how you engage with your audience, how you respond on the questions, and time management will be key. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You've heard from the judges. The Sustainable Development Goals, commonly referred to as SDGs, were introduced in 2015. This was to continue the progress that had been achieved by the Millennium Development Goals. The SDGs include, among others, ending poverty in all its forms everywhere, also achieving gender equality and empowerment. These SDGs are to be achieved by the year 2030. Countries throughout the world agreed to these goals, and Uganda's government was one of the governments that agreed to the Sustainable Development Goals. Today we discuss, The SDGs are government business, and therefore private sector, civil society, private citizens have little to contribute to attaining these goals. Let's go to the proposers first.
Judges, ladies and gentlemen, sustainable development goals are government business. Therefore, private sector, civil society, and private citizens have little to contribute to attaining it. This resolution is well written, members in the August House. To start with, our stand as the proposition in tonight's debate say that government should take a lead in the attainment of sustainable development goals. The government that started with the Millennium Development Goals knows the burden of the achievement of sustainable development goals, members in the August House. The government that signed, that is a signatory to the Sustainable Development Goal among the 193 countries that participated in the Sustainable Development Goals, knows the burden of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and should take a lead in its achievement. Members of the August House, these are our arguments. The first is the principle of social contract that government has with its citizens. We as the citizens of this country, we have a social contract with the government of this country, and in exchange we give them power, and in exchange they are supposed to give us services. Therefore, the government should take a lead in attaining the sustainable development goals, which is a 17-point sustainable development goals, which includes, among others, no poverty, zero hunger, good health, among others. Therefore, government should take a lead in attaining it. Apart from that, Ugandans, I'm taking a case study of Uganda. We are taxpayers, and the government is the tax collector that collects our taxes through the URA. Therefore, in exchange, we expect services from the government. Therefore, we expect zero hunger, we expect no poverty, we expect quality education. Why wouldn't the government take a lead in this, being its responsibility, members in the August House? Apart from that, now let us look at this. We have a question on CSOs, private individuals and private sectors. Let us look at CSOs. They depend on donor funds, and their work is on contract. We cannot trust them with a whole 17-point sustainable development goals in this country. Therefore, government has to take a lead. We are not phasing out CSOs, private individuals. They can participate in, for example, sensitization, but they should not take a lead in attaining this. Members in the August House. Apart from that, government has the available state institutions, members in the August House, to achieve the sustainable development goals. For example, when we look at good health and well-being, Uganda has a whole Ministry of Health, members in the August House. Uganda have hospitals, members in the August House. The government taxes the citizens, therefore it has the capacity. It has money from taxes of over 36 million Ugandans.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We will go to the opposing side. And your option can be to walk out.
Nah.
All right, we'll hear from the opposers.
Thank you very much. Sustainable development goals are government businesses, and therefore private sectors, civil society, the private citizens have a little to contribute in attaining them. In my own point of view, the private sector, the civil society, and we, the private citizens, have much to do in attaining these 17 sustainable development goals. Why? Government cannot work alone. If government set up policies, if government is to achieve gender equality, if government is to achieve quality education, it has to work hand in hand with the private sector. It is we, the private sector, we people, the citizens, that are going to make sure that these policies are implemented. We are the implementers in the first place. Secondly, talking of quality education, if we, the private citizens, do not put government on pressure to make sure that schools are put in place, to make sure that teachers are in class, the government cannot implement their goals. They cannot implement these goals or the sustainable development goals. It is the role of we, the civil society, we, the private sector, we, the private citizens, to make sure that we raise our voices. We make sure that the government is put on pressure. Make sure that the government is compelled to make sure that educational facilities are in schools, to make sure that drugs are in hospitals. That is, if we are to make sure that we improve and emphasize good health within our country. So the private sector and the citizens are very much important in making a very good contribution in attaining the Sustainable Development Goals. Then thirdly, we have to look at clean water and sanitation. We have seen the private sector or the citizens coming up to compare the government to make sure that clean water is put in place, to make sure that we produce water that is clean. A case in point is Nile breweries. Apparently, they are producing reservoir water. And what has it done? What has the private sector done? The private sector has made sure that this water is manufactured, is produced, and is packed in recyclable materials, the plastics, so that at the end of the day, after these people have consumed this water, it can be they can dispose of the waste, and these plastics can be recycled so they cannot affect our environment. Another thing is that we have to know that with the private sector, we have a right to quality education. What do I mean?
Your time is actually up.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. You've had both arguments, and you actually have the opportunity to ask the first proposer a question.
You talked of the government being or having the responsibility of collecting taxes so it can facilitate these other services. I have a question for you, madam. Can you collect taxes without working hand in hand with the private sector or the private individuals?
That is the good thing you started with government collecting taxes. That means it has to take a lead because we pay it to them. We are not facing away the CSOs and private individuals. We are saying that the government collects the taxes, so it should take a lead in this.
Okay. All right. You have a chance to ask her a question.
Yes, I have a question for her. I was so happy when you talked of we have a right to quality education, and you talked of the private individuals and private sector has to push the government. So are you, in other words, telling us that pushing the government means that government is at the lead of prioritizing this right? Secondly, how do we prove government commitment in the presence of the high level political corruption in this country? Thank you.
Just for clarity, this is a high level of political corruption within government or with CSOs, within CSOs and private sector?
Now,
No, just clarify which sector you're referring to as being highly corrupt.
all of them.
All of them, okay.
Thank you very much. According to human rights, every individual is entitled to a right to education. If you're saying that the government is taking the lead to make sure that there is education in place, my role as a private citizen, as the private sector, is to make sure that I compel you as the government to make sure that you fulfill what you think you're supposed to do. If you put schools in place and you just put structures and there are no teachers in class, what is my role as the private sector? To make sure that there are teachers in class, to make sure that there are textbooks in the library, and to make sure that there is a library in place in the first place.
Okay. Unfortunately, you had your chance to ask the question. The first speakers are done. We're going to go to the second speaker, and we'll start with the second proposing speaker.
Yeah, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I have realized that members of the opposition have accepted that the government has got the responsibility to play in achieving these sustainable development goals. Ladies and gentlemen, they are telling us that they are going to push the government, that we are saying that are responsible. So by that fact, we believe that they have consented to us that in actual sense, the government is responsible for achieving this, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to furthermore move and talk about the question that she asked the first speaker from the government side. She asked whether the government should collect tax without consulting together with the local people, the private investors. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the government has established what they call URA, Uganda Revenue Authority is a government-owned body, should not consult anyone during the tax collection. And therefore, it's the responsibility of the government through this body to ensure that taxes are collected, ladies and gentlemen. The questions that we need to ask, as we said that the government should not take lead, like our members from the opposition side. The first question is, when the donors gives money to any state, which is a signatory to United Nations organizations and consent to sustainable development goals, who should they ask? Should they ask the private investors, the citizens of Uganda, or should they ask the government of the Republic of Uganda? If they ask the government of Uganda, therefore the government of Uganda should take lead in making sure that we achieve the sustainable development goals, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to furthermore move and ask the House, to what extent can you measure the citizens' participation in the sustainable development goals when in actual sense they were not even sensitized? Very many citizens outside the country, in fact outside this room, do not know what sustainable development goals mean. Should we give them that responsibility? Will we really achieve, ladies and gentlemen? Therefore, it is the government to come out and make sure that they sensitize the citizens of the Republic of Uganda at all platforms, so that at the end of the day, we make citizens understand, so that we can achieve this. Ladies and gentlemen, the other one is, do Ugandans pay tax? If Ugandans pay tax in actual sense, what do they expect in return? We expect service delivery. And if we expect service delivery at the end of the day, should we again give them the responsibility to start pushing for what they have paid for? This is what they deserve, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to furthermore move and inform the House that the government's responsibility to achieve the sustainable development goals can be successful simply because of the following reasons. Number one, if you are to look at the National Development Plan was put in by the government, and there I talk about Vision 2040. This is a government-aided program, ladies and gentlemen. And this Vision 2040 is aiming towards achieving the sustainable development plans. Let us give them the responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to furthermore move and look at the NRM manifesto, which I would not wish to go deep.
Unfortunately, your time is up.
Thank you so much.
We will go to the other side of the debate. The second opposer.
Well, thank you very much. The motion is clearly stated to all of us, and I would like to oppose. Yes, the government has a role to play, but can it play it alone? Can the government do the work without the people? CSOs, can it do the work without us? If any law is to be implemented, it will go through the ministry, and then from the ministry to the local people, they will come and call your father, tell him, hey, help us do this and that. That is you, the civil society, coming in, not the government doing it on its own. Then, if I go to the point of paying tax, the point, yes, we pay the tax, but do we get the services from the tax that we pay? Do we? If we were getting the right services from the tax that we pay, all schools will be getting first grades. Why is it that private schools are getting more first grades than government schools? Where are the taxes going? Huh? Yes. Then, next. The government, yes, you said it should be the role of the government to do its role. We accept because we are under it. But under the wealth creation project of the government, have you ever received something? It was initially called NADS, and now it's called Wealth Creation Project. Have you ever received something? Corporation, yes.
Operation Wealth Creation.
Operation Wealth Creation, thank you very much. Have you ever received something? It is there to help the civil society, but in real sense, all the funds, all the products which are supposed to be given to the people to help them better their lives remains at the top offices. The ministers, the MPs, the LC5, they give them animals, they give the animals go to the people they know. You know, the thing is more of who knows me, who knows you. Have you ever received anything? Okay, next. Let me tell you one more point, maybe, if you still think it's the government's role. Have you ever seen the government itself coming to your village and cleaning up water bodies to ensure that people, according to the human rights, everyone has a right to clean water, which can stop him or her, prevent them from diseases? Because you're sure if you consume dirty water, contaminated water, you will fall sick. Have you ever seen the government itself without the locals coming to your village and clean the water bodies? No, it is the local people. We have the right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for making that passionate argument. Do you have any questions for the second proposer?
Yes,
Sorry.
I have a question for him. You said us, the CSOs, we have not played our role to sensitize the people.
I did not say that you have not played your role.
No, you said it. I know.
All right, so what's your question?
My question is it the government, since you're supporting the government, is it the government to come and play the role, or it is us? If the government sat on its opportunities or its roles to come and inform the people about what they are supposed to do or how to work towards attaining the sustainable goals, how come people don't know? You also acknowledge that they don't know. So it is failing on its roles. Let us come up as...
It's a question, not an argument. So let's allow him to answer the question.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Is trying to ask whether the citizens of the Republic of Uganda or the government should take part in this, in achieving sustainable development goals. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to still assure the House that Thomas Hobbes, who is a scholar, gave what they call the principle of social contract. The citizens of the Republic of Uganda have got their rights. By having their rights, they now give those rights through memberships. We have membership of parliaments. That is the government, is an arm of the government. So by giving their rights to the individuals, it's the responsibility of the individuals who are in the government, who makes up the government, to make sure that they give back to the citizens in actual sense what they deserve. This, what we are discussing about, is not what we should be begging for as Ugandans. These are things that we deserve for, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, thank you very much. You have a chance now. You have a chance now to ask the second opposer a question.
Yes, I want to ask him only one question. And that question is, after when you have paid tax, do you want again at the end of the day to start cleaning boreholes, to start drilling boreholes, to start doing community works after paying taxes to the government, or the government should give you services in return of the tax that you have paid?
Thank you very much. I've paid my tax, and the one responsible is not doing the work. I'm supposed to stand up and claim the rates to which I paid the tax for. Right. I come, I remind you, hey, government, I paid my tax. Where are your services? I'm not seeing them.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. I just have a quick question for the proposers. The government of Uganda did not do very well at the Millennium Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals are a continuation. If government did not do well at the Millennium Development Goals, what makes you think that taking a lead on the Sustainable Development Goals, they are going to do better? The others were less. These ones are more.
Okay, I think I'm going to answer that. That is what I started with. That the government of this country that knows its role and the trouble of attaining the Millennium Development Goals, knows what it has to do to attain the Sustainable Development Goals. To start with, under the Millennium Development Goal, we had universal primary education and university secondary education. Aren't people studying under that? The government achieved it. That means the government can still achieve the Sustainable Development Goals under that.
We have a university present here today that's on holiday because the government said go home. Are they studying?
The government is extremely responsible in that it protected its citizens by saying, Makerere, you're being very loud, go home. That is how much responsible the government is. Makerere, you're disorganizing people.
Okay.
Makerere, you're causing violence. The government is as responsible to send them home.
Your point has been made. I am glad Makere is not on the other side, but we'll later hear from Makere. Well, I'd like to ask the opposers. You see, government, on its part, has argued that it has done as much as it can. But citizens are fighting the same things put up by government. The people that work in the civil service are not government. They are private individuals like you and me. They are your father and your mother. And they're the ones bringing a bad name to government. What's wrong with government asking that, yes, we will take a lead Just come and support us. Civil society, come and support us.
Well, thank you very much. I think I will answer that. The government has provided, but are the services reaching? Are the services reaching to the local person? Don't you have okay, the proposers, if I may ask.
No, you're not asking a question. You're now answering a question.
Okay, let me rephrase it. According to the human rights, we all know everyone has a right to attain education at any one moment, regardless of the situation. Now, those people of Makerere, when they closed Makerere, people had paid tuition. Were they getting the services? Weren't their rights violated by closing down that institute?
Yeah, but access to education, UPE, USE, and in fact, very soon we may even have university education.
Very
Government
good.
is doing its part, isn't it?
Very good. Thank you very much. UPE, I accept it is there. Are there teachers? They are just structures. In some places, they are not even structures. People are studying under trees. How can a person studying under trees compete with a person who is studying under constructed structure with good teachers, with the library stocked? UPE and USE, they don't have libraries. They are not stocked. So there is no service delivery.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you've had the two arguments on what role government, civil society, private individuals should play in attaining the Sustainable Development Goals by the year 2030. Let's now go to the judges to hear which argument was more persuasive.
Thank you, moderator. We want to applaud both teams, Gulu University and Mbarara University of Science and Technology. You did exceptionally well. This debate was deserving of university students. Your arguments were sophisticated on both sides. And you definitely discussed the topic as it was supposed to be discussed on the opposing and on the proposing side as well. You were clear, you were robust, you engaged the audience, and I think the points were brought out quite well. Unfortunately, we have to have a winner and a loser, and in this case, it was quite a close one. The difference in points is not very much, but Gulu was the overall winner. Sorry to Mbarara University, but Gulu just articulated better. They were able to use their time better. They engaged the audience much more, and they had a better grasp of the topic.
Okay.
So, but you both deserve commendation.
All right.
I think my.
Mr. Moderator and the debaters, you did so well. I was so blown away. Actually, I was like the people right behind. I forgot I was supposed to be a judge. But just on the substantive, because we're here to learn, isn't it? SDGs is not something up there. It's embedded in our work plan, in our goals as a country. If you come to our Uganda Constitution, we have what we call the national objectives and directive principles. There's that one that says the right to development is under Sustainable Development Goal 1. We have food security and nutrition is under Sustainable Development Goal 2. So if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals and put our constitution at the side, we are completely covered. So there's nothing we are doing which is not ours. And the other thing about the Sustainable Development Goals is that we need to own it as a country. There should be national ownership. It's a responsibility of every citizen. In one way or another, as the government, maybe as civil society or as private corporation, we complement each other. Yes, the government is the lead, but civil society does a lot of checks and balances. We do a lot of advocacy. Corporations do a lot on things like improving education. They do scholarships. There's what they call corporate responsibility. You find they've repaired roads. They're doing sanitation. They're doing corporate responsibility to the communities, maybe taking care of the sick or something like that. We have seen that happening. And the other thing I want to ask the House, who is the government? Who is the government? They say in democracy, say the government is by the people, for the people, and of the people. So if you look at us here, all of us, we have a responsibility in implementing sustainable development goals. Under human rights, the government has the right to respect, protect, and fulfill human rights.
Thank you very much. You've heard from our judges. An excellent way to conclude our debate for today. So far, 2 universities have made it to the next round. Chambogo University that made it in the first debate, and now Gulu University that has made it to the second debate. Congratulations, Gulu University. And Mbarara University of Science and Technology, congratulations. You've done very well in this debate, but only one can progress to the next. Thank you for watching us from home. I hope you benefited from this debate. Let's continue to respect all human rights.